They come out okay.
City Clerk, are you all set? Jim, you all set?
I'm ready, Mayor.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone, to the City Council meeting for the City of Evans, May 18th. I'm Brian Rudy, the Mayor. I'll call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Rudy.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Councilmember Spear.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Present.
Councilmember Neal.
Present.
Councilmember Castle.
Here.
Councilmember Mortensen.
Here.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item that's not on the agenda this evening? Please address and welcome. Thank you for being here.
Reesburg, 1726 18th Avenue.
I'm Sean Walcott, 1829.
We have the State Director for AARP Colorado, who's going to make an announcement at this time.
Mr. Murphy, you're ready to speak.
Thank you. And again, my name is Bob Murphy. I'm the State Director with AARP Colorado. Thanks for the opportunity to spend a couple of minutes with you this evening to talk about age-friendly or livable communities. And first, I want to start, as I always do, with thanking you for your service. As someone who served the City of Lakewood for 22 years on our Planning Commission, City Council, and 8 years as Mayor, I know what a commitment it is. So again, thank you for your service to your community. AARP's age-friendly network began in 2013, and the whole idea is to promote the concept of planning your community's future through that age-friendly or livable community lens so that your residents can age in place in the community that you and they call home. So we're here tonight with the assistance of Mr. Reesburg to formally present you with a certificate to welcome you to the AARP Age-Friendly Network as the 520th member of the AARP network of age-friendly states and communities. And I just want to add that we are exceptionally excited about this collaborative model that you all have with Garden City and Greeley, and with, of course, the great help of the United Way and the Aging Well Collective Impact Group. This is a unique model for Colorado, not just the fact that we have 3 cities working together, 2 cities in a town working together, but the fact that we have the Collective Impact Group helping this process move forward. So we're very excited. Congratulations, and I think Jim is there to actually formally present you with the certificate that I just have a picture of here. But thank you again and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We do have a certificate. As you know, we were here a month or so ago. It was approved. It's kind of a 3-phase process. The first phase is going to be doing a baseline assessment of what the needs are. We've been working with almost 40 organizations in our 3 communities since 2019, looking at this, but now we want to reach out to the public. We'll be doing some surveying. We'll be having some public forums to bring people together in order to share their ideas too, so that we're listening before we bring you additional information. So we're very happy to be working with you and through the United Way Aging Well Committee. Sean Walcott is the representative from United Way who will be managing this group. And we're very fortunate. Many of the cities that have started were just a group of people that came together because this was important to them, and then they had to figure out all the administrative pieces and everything. United Way has stepped up, so we'll handle all of that. You just move forward. So we're going to be reaching out to the people, engaging people to get more involved in things, recruiting volunteers, looking at best practices, and then sharing with you in all the ways that we can when you're making your decisions about some other information that we think would be important for you to consider. Sean, would you have anything to say?
Yeah, thank you all for supporting this, and we'll be looking for input, like Jim said, from the City of Evans. And Jim is well connected, and he will. The voices are very appreciated in the next assessment process. So we do have this certificate we'd like to present to you, Mayor Rudy. If we can get a photo, that'd be great too.
We're on it.
Thank you for everything you guys are doing for our community and all the communities around, like you said, Greeley and Garden City as well as us, but all the communities around the country. It's a great thing you guys are doing, and we're happy to be a part of it, so thank you guys.
Absolutely.
The state director would like to be here tonight, but they don't let any of the AARP officials travel yet.
Okay.
So that's why he had to come in this manner. Otherwise, he would have been here as well.
You guys did great too, so thank you guys very much, and thank you, Mr. Murphy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item on the agenda? Is there anyone virtually? City
No,
Council?
Mayor.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any changes to the agenda?
No, Mayor.
Thank you.
I move to approve the agenda.
I second.
A motion and a second to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, consent agenda. Approval of the May 4th, 2021 City Council meeting minutes.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item, new business. Item 1, consideration of resolution number 12-2021 to approve an intergovernmental agreement with Greeley for construction of roadway improvements at Two Rivers Parkway and 37th Street. I'll hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the council. This first item is, I think, an example of some foresight planning that Greeley and Evans are doing together along with Weld County. This is planning for an expanded intersection at Two Rivers Parkway and 37th Street. As we all know, that corridor is also considered Freedom Parkway, and we know that more growth is coming, and this signal is arguably needed very soon, if not now, but we certainly want to have it in as soon as possible. So I'll ask Mark to summarize this kind of coordinated effort to improve this intersection, and also just explain the IGA and Evans funding responsibility, and then we'll ask your consideration of improving the IGA.
Thank you, Jim. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. As Jim said, this intersection is long overdue for some improvements. It's currently a two-way stop sign with very difficult intersection to try to get through if you're going north or south. So Greeley has funded the entire design, so we've been working with Greeley on the design for a little over a year or so, and we've been working with them to coordinate the design so that we know what is needed on Evans' side of the road. Greeley owns the 3/4 of the intersection in terms of the roadways, and Evans owns the south side of the intersection. We annexed Two Rivers Parkway when we annexed the Peakview subdivision. So we're in the process of acquiring some temporary easements and permanent easements along the southwest corner of the intersection. One of those acquisitions is complete. The other one should be completed in the next couple of weeks. So we'd like to move the IGA together, move it forward with Greeley. Greeley, I believe, is taking this to their council at their next meeting. So current estimate of the intersection is about $1.19 million, so we rounded it up to $1.2 million for the IGA purposes. The actual payment will be based on the final construction cost, which when Greeley receives the bids, we will have the opportunity to review those bids and approve those bids before Greeley actually awards the contract. Greeley will take over the ownership and maintenance of the traffic signal improvements, and so we won't have anything else involved financially once the construction is completed. We would obviously, since we have an intersecting road at that intersection, we would be input to any kind of improvements such as improved light signals and things like that down the road. But for the most part, there shouldn't be any huge additional cost from a traffic signal perspective at that intersection once it's complete. And then you'll see traffic flowing a lot more smoothly and a lot safer at that intersection once this is complete. When I first went out there to look at it, I was amazed at the amount of the speed of the traffic east-west and the inability of the north-south traffic to get on the road, which is why this is long overdue. So that's why we're asking for your approval of the IGA. The cost will be 50-50 split between Evans and Greeley. We have a contribution from Peakview subdivision, which already, the development agreement has already been signed. The money from Peakview will not kick in until they get into phase 1B of their development. So that will be a payback on their end once they move forward with phase 1B of their development. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions of staff?
Well, Mark,
You're not ready, but
You got
Laura?
two?
Maybe, maybe not. We just okayed a roundabout at 47th and 37th Street. So why was this location not an appropriate site for a roundabout then?
That was really wanted to do. Sometimes roundabouts, you don't want to put them too close together. And I think when Greeley and their original consultant, Stantec, and now Olson, looked at it a little bit closer, they opted for the typical four-way intersection with signals. We could have done a roundabout there, and I don't know if it would have been any cheaper. It would have been about the same price. I think the right-of-way requirements would have been a lot more. Greeley is still working with Gary Wiedemann on the northwest corner, and I'm not sure who the property is on the northeast corner to get right-of-way, because there's much more right-of-way being acquired on that north side of the road than the south side of the road. So to answer your question, I don't know why a roundabout wasn't considered, but I think early on, Greeley had decided to go with a standard traffic signal.
That's a long distance from our roundabouts, and there are several roundabouts further west on 402 that are consecutive and close together, and in fact attaching.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my question: was why we had to have a roundabout and they didn't opt for one. So
I don't know that we have to.
we have to now at 47.
I personally like them better. I think they're a lot safer. Just from watching people run red lights, you can't run a roundabout.
No, you can't.
Well, you can if you're intoxicated.
Other questions of staff?
No.
I guess my question would be, and maybe I missed it in here, I didn't see it, but if Greeley owns 3/4 of the intersection, we own 1/4, why are we paying half instead of a quarter?
Well, technically, when Weld County is on the southwest corner, so
That's
we
what I
don't own
thought.
the property on the south. We don't, that part of the property is not in Evans. It eventually, in theory, would be annexed into Evans, so that's why the 50-50 split.
But in your report, it said roadways coming intersection have been annexed by Greeley, west, north, and east,
Yes,
and Evans south.
yes. So, but the property, you have, the split is based on a north-south split between the intersection, based on the property ownership. And we asked Weld County early on in the process if they wanted to contribute, and they said no at that time.
However, it's a good signal that they will work with us when we're ready to annex, because they said, you can pay for this annex.
Well, that was my question, that's a good answer, but the way I read it,
You're
they
right.
own 3 of them, we own 1,
Right.
should be 25%.
Right.
Yes.
You're paying. Other questions or comments on it, Fred?
There wasn't any mention at all of Freedom Parkway in this information, but I'm assuming that Greeley's a part of that agreement.
Yes.
And that this intersection was designed with that in mind
Yes.
to meet those requirements.
That's correct. There's one minor change in the IGA. In section 6 of the IGA, it refers to payment will be made in accordance with section 9. That should have been section 8, and that's been corrected. So the version you will sign is different than the one that's in your packet, just by that one number. So it'll be the actual accurate number.
Anyone else?
Question.
Go ahead, Amanda.
On the PQ development agreement, does that agreement change if the developer changes?
No, it ties with the land.
It rides with the land.
That's what I
Yes,
mean.
it
So it
does.
rides with land. And then does it sunset at all? So if the development doesn't take hold for so long, or I mean, how long is the city prepared to, I guess we are just prepared to pay for that?
Don't think the development agreement had a sunset. I think it stays with the land now. If nothing happens, then that's another story. But our understanding is that the new buyers of PQ are moving forward.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Can I just check with the city attorney? Scott, is that the case, that it rides with the land? It doesn't, no termination to the development agreement?
Right, the development agreement is I can look at it and see what happens.
And at the very least, we've had this happen, and subsequent developers can come in and request amendments to the development agreement, but they come into the property with those expectations
Right.
intact.
Right, perfect. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? It's definitely needed up there. I take that home almost every time I'm in Denver. It could be used. I'm all for it.
Yep.
There's no other discussion. I entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 12-2021 to adopt the intergovernmental agreement with Greeley for the Two Rivers Parkway and 37th Street intersection improvements and to authorize the mayor's signature on the IGA.
Second.
Motion and a second to approve resolution number 12-2021 to adopt the intergovernmental agreement with Greeley for the Two Rivers Parkway and 37th Street intersection improvements and authorize the mayor's signature on the IGA. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Mark. Next item is a public hearing. Consideration of ordinance number 744-21 to update the official zoning map for the city of Evans pursuant to changes that occurred in late 2020. First reading. I'll open the public hearing and hear from staff.
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of those administrative tasks that the city council completes from time to time. Simply updating the official zoning map that is the most probably common accessibility point to our zoning for the general public to reflect any zoning changes that have happened since the last update. So tonight we're asking for your consideration of the ordinance that will adopt the map as attached in the staff report. That's all we have, Mayor.
Public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in favor of this issue?
No, Mayor.
Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak in opposition of this issue?
No, Mayor.
Questions of staff on this item from council? Laura?
My question is this. The former Eastwood Village is still listed as a resident or as a manufactured home, a mobile home district. I thought we were going to change that to, I guess, create another zone that reflects what we're actually going to be allowing there.
So Eastwood Village there are 4 properties in Evans that are zoned mobile home, residential mobile home. And those 4 properties can have the option of exchanging mobile homes for RV parks. So Eastwood Village is no longer a mobile home community. It will be an RV park, but you have to have residential mobile home zoning in order to convert to an RV park.
Okay, I just wanted that clarification because I wanted to make sure that that is what it's going to be zoned for. So if that is containing that RV park, then I'm okay with it.
Other questions of staff? Hearing none, I close the public hearing. Comments? There's no other comments or discussion. Let's entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance number 744-21 as proposed on first reading.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve ordinance number 744-21 as proposed on first reading. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you. Next item, consideration of 37th Street widening design change order. Back to you, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. The council had a work session on and received an update on the 37th Street widening project, as we call it. It's actually 37th Street from 35th Avenue out to 65th Avenue, and also 47th Avenue from 37th Street to the north city limits, connecting with Greeley. Large project. Council heard about this project going back, started in 2019. And a lot of the work that's gone on, we're about halfway, I think we're a little more than halfway through the project. At that work session, Mark outlined a number of, I think, advantages that we've identified, things we need to do in order to optimize this project, reduce maintenance in the long term, set ourselves up for future development, and also update the number of phases, plan phases that we'll have from the consultant for when we go out to bid. The total change order is the amount of $489,700 for all the things that are outlined in the staff report. Would take the project from $1,357,511 to $1,847,211. And we had some conversation at the work session about how this updated contract amount would still fall under the amount of the next lowest bid from when this design project was bid, and we would have likely needed many of these changes even with that bid. So that's my short summary. Our city engineer, Mark Oberschmidt, is here to answer any questions or present any of the information that council would like to hear. We're asking for your consideration of this change order in the amount of $489,700 and also a contract extension amount, which will get all this work done, extending the contract to December 2022. That concludes our presentation, Mayor.
Questions of Jim or Mark? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the change order to the contract with Roxol for the 37th Street widening project in the amount of $489,700, increasing the not to exceed contract amount to $1,847,211, and to authorize the extension of the contract with Roxol to December 2022.
Second.
A motion and a second to authorize the change order of the contract with Roxol for the 37th Street widening project in the amount of $489,700, increasing the not to exceed contract to $1,847,211, and to authorize the extension of the contract with Roxol to December 2022. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Next item, report, city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a couple things. I think all of them suggest positive movement for our business community. First of all, I'll just point out in the manager's weekly council report, we had our most recent sales tax update for March, and the very highlights of this are that for the month of March, our sales tax in the general fund was up almost 29% over the same period over March of the prior year. That we have to just take with a little grain of salt, because March was our kind of split month in terms of the economy pre and post COVID. But we checked, Jackie did some research to check that with March 2019 and March 2018, and the amount received for the same kind of apples to apples comparison for 2021 was higher than both of those months as well. So I think that's just 1 month of good sign, but it's positive for our local economy that sales tax might be bouncing back like that. Also, I think you had at the dais couple of business events. The first is exciting for anyone who drives 37th Street. So often you'll see Best Way to stores coming along very nicely. They are having their grand opening, ribbon cutting, on May 20th at 4 o'clock with the ribbon cutting at 4:30. So I believe that's this coming Thursday. And it'd be great. I know they would love to see as many council members out there. I know Mr. Rubba, the developer and owner, has really expressed an interest and commitment to getting involved in Evans. And so it's great to see that business opening.
Anybody think they can make it to that?
I can make it.
I'll be there too.
I'll be there.
I think we'll have a handful.
Great.
Yeah.
And then the second event is the May Business After Hours. The Chamber is excited to convene their first in-person after hours at Landmark Builders, which is an Evans company, one of our really good companies. So Landmark's hosting, and that is at 3812 Carson Avenue in Evans. That event starts at 5 o'clock, and especially those after-hours events that take place in Evans, they always, again, like to see city council members and senior staff. So for those of you who are available, I know they'd love to see you there too. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
Jim? City Attorney?
Thank you, Mayor and members of City Council. Just as a scheduling note, I will not be here for the next meeting, so the Assistant City Attorney Byman will be here covering that meeting. And I was looking through the Peakview agreement, but I don't have an answer to Amanda Castle's, Councilmember Castle's question yet, but we'll get that for the next meeting. I'll send it. Other than that, we have a couple of items to talk about in the executive session, but we'll do that.
Thanks, Scott. Next item on the agenda is audience participation. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address City Council on any item?
No, ma'am.
Thanks. Next would be an executive session.
I move to go into executive session to confer with the city attorney for the purposes of receiving legal advice on specific legal questions related to public potential litigation pursuant to CRS 24-6-402, Section 4, subsection B.
Second.
Motion and a second to go into executive session. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Good to see you. Have a good night.
I don't have annotate, so I have to when